You're trying to.
His hands in such a way.
Whatever it is for action.
Call this meeting order at 5:30.
Sorry.
Pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All if you can call roll.
Taylor. Here. Barge.
Here.
Sluter. Here. Brenner.
Here.
Kilgore. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Swint.
Here, if we have a quorum, we'll proceed. Next item is the mission, vision, and beliefs. Our mission is to inspire and prepare students for the next level of education, work, and life. Our vision is to foster student growth and build trusting partnerships between students, staff, family, and community. And education at WDSD 7 will support our students' intellectual, social, and emotional growth. We will provide students with an innovative curriculum supported by various co-curricular activities. The outcome of our efforts will empower students to make a difference in their community and world. We believe in providing a safe environment where healthy relationships and student growth are priorities. Item number 2, adopt the agenda.
I'll move to adopt.
Motion by Mrs. Wheeler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Kilgore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Moving on to showcasing schools. Today we get to hear about Missouri Ridge.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Gina Norby, Missouri Ridge Principal, and I'm excited to showcase our school at the beginning of the year. Next slide, please. All right, I like to start with our Hawk facts. We are a Title-wide school. We are kindergarten to 5th grade. We're in our 3rd year, so we're just getting started. So I like really looking back to say, where did we start? Where are we going? So new students to the building in 23-24, 85%. Obviously, we were just boundaried, just starting, and so that percentage was so high. 24-25, 34%, and 25-26 is 22%. And that is including the 3 kindergarten classes. So that's kind of neat to see that those kids are obviously going to be new, but the kids that are there are staying. So that's great. New staff to the building, 23-24, 60%. So we were new, we were growing, getting there, 24-25, 17. And this year we're looking at 13. So we're really excited about keeping those people there. Next slide, please. When I started this presentation, I thought at the beginning of the year, what am I going to showcase? Right? What am I going to show? We haven't started. The kids aren't back yet. So I thought, how can we talk about our strategic plan, the pillars, and what do we do as a school to achieve these goals? So the 4 pillars are academic engagement, innovation, school culture, and resource management. So I want to showcase, starting the year, how do we plan using these things and using our plan? Next slide, please. So areas of focus. We use Cognia to provide school accreditation for all the schools within our district. When we complete our Cognia plan, this is a plan that goes throughout the year, and we do focus on academics, innovation, and school culture. So we build this map and we say throughout the year, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And so at the end, we can look back and say, wow, you know what? We did this great. Oh, you know what? We could grow here. How could we do that? So I feel like coming into the year, this is the best item to look at to say in 25-26, this is how we're going to rock it. This is what we're going to keep. And this is how we're going to keep improving our school. Next slide, please. So I'm sure many of you have heard about BAR, Building Assets, Reducing Risk. BAR is a comprehensive approach to students, to staff, and to the community, making sure that we all come together for kids, because that's what we're here for. So year 1, we're in year 2 right now. So our first year, if you look at the picture in the corner in August 2024, that's our staff. That's our staff creating connections, creating a community. Because if we aren't together, if we're not believing in BAR, believing in kids, believing in what we do each and every day, how can we expect the kids to feel that? How can we expect to perform our best or the community to believe that we really want what's best for kids? So BAR, breaking it down in those four bottom blocks. The first thing is U time. It's a morning meeting. It's a lesson that teachers give to each one of their grades once a week, and they share a lesson that helps the class collaborate. So for example, house rules. We do house rules, we talk as a class and we say, you know what are we gonna do in our class to make things good, to make things better, to make sure we're all doing our job and we're proud to be here. So that's just an example of a U time morning meeting. Small block, a grade level meetings focused on student. So for example, if the first grade crew gets together and says, hey, we've got this kid, this kid, this kid. I'm having a little trouble. They brainstorm together. How can we help this student? Or perhaps it's a student that's excelling. What can I do to push this kiddo? What can I do to accelerate learning for that student? So we have those each week with all of our grade levels. Big block is a team focus, which is really neat. So it's every one of your staff members is put on comprehensive teams. It can be 2 teams per school, 3 teams. It depends on the size of school and the need. So we're going to have 3 this year. 3 teams, but it's taking those small block kids into these big blocks. And it would consist of a kindergarten teacher, a grade level from everywhere, a special teacher, maybe a special ed teacher. So you've got all these wonderful people looking at these kids and helping in every way possible. So it is such a comprehensive approach, and I love that. The last piece is Community Connect. We use outside resources to help students. And within our Community Connect, it is our resource officer, our counselor, our school nurse, our secretary, and myself. So things we can't provide at the school level, that's what Community Connect is for. So I wanted to show BAR because I think this has been a great change for our district, and we did a lot of things, we just didn't have this beautiful piece to put it together that we all could do cohesively as a district. Next slide, please. So academics for 24-25, each block shares things that we felt we really did well at. So daily win times, we created a time for every grade for reading and math where we provided what I need now, that's what win means. So we're structuring times lessons for every kiddo. So it might be kiddos that are on level, behind, above. So what can we do to help that educational process? MTSS weekly, that is essentially big block. In our first year, we decided to keep MTSS small and cohesive to start, because doing BAR, it's a lot of different components and working wheels. And so that we kept this last year, which will transition this next year. BAR small block weekly, we were awesome. We did it every single week. The teachers collaborated, got together. There's a spreadsheet in which you visit every single student in your grade. Our teachers did that. So going into next year, they have all that data for the students coming into them. So that's a really neat piece of that. And PLC's weekly. So we also really worked hard in the professional learning communities to make sure we looked at data. We looked at small block things. How does that all fit together? And in the green block, you'll see student growth. Next slide, please. So 24-25, the black blocks is iReady testing. So we decided to have an incentive, and we did fall to winter iReady, and we have a little flyer on the bottom. It says I rock iReady. So we got our kids excited. We said, how can you beat you? How can you do better for you? Because honestly, it's about the growth for them. It's not about the class growth. It's about them growing and getting excited about what they're doing, how they're growing. So as you can see, so just within 2 semesters, reading went up 14 points, math 13 points, and NDA plus testing. That is a new one. So the green bubbles, these are new. So we have K2, reading went up 15%. Pretty cool for a brand new test that the kids had never taken. K2 for math was 20. And then unfortunately for our NDA plus 3.5, we don't get results until the fall. So those will be something we'll have to look at and see how those grades did. Next slide, please. This is how do we address gaps in needs? So all those things went great. We did all these things, but guess what? We can be better, right? Let's look back and say, so we decided the first block says weekly schedule amended to support PLCs and small block. We didn't feel like we had enough time. The teachers needed more time. We needed more time to assess those kids and plan better for them. So we added more time to the schedule. We're moving MTSS again to the big block process where we're creating those 3 themes across the school. So instead of just having the small MTSS, we just open it up to the entire school so we can help all the kids, allowing for all of us to be a part of these kids, which that's what BAR wants. We'll continue small block. PLCs and data digs will review data continually. And we didn't have enough time, we felt, to be able to come in and really look and dissect that data for WIN groups, for different programs that we need them for. I like the interventions decisions to be guided by the district reading and math pathways, because once we do boundaries, If a kiddo from my school needs to go to another school, if he's on that same intervention path, we're not regressing, right? He can transition that way. So I think if we stick to all the structure that we have, it's helpful for the kids that are moving. It's helpful for the kids that are still at our school, and we're all the same across. Last one, policy and procedures and protocol. What does this have to do with academics? If you can fine tune arrivals, dismissals, behaviors, you're allowing for more academic time. And students come, they know what's expected, they know what their job is, and there's no guessing work about it. And I like that. They feel safe, they're comfortable, they're coming in to learn, and they're excited. Next slide, please. All right, innovation, again, the three pillars: academics, innovation, and school culture. So innovation in the black, these are all things we did. We had a STEAM class rotation for K-5 classes students. Every kiddo goes to STEAM every 2 to 3 days, depending on the schedule. We have teachers' assistants that are a part of our specials. So they're fifth grade kids that come in and help younger grades. They learn how to mentor, guide these kids in the classes and help out. And that's a really big, important part of being a fifth grader and just being able to be a leader for the school. Library STEAM collaboration. We had school-wide events, family nights. We had the STEAM truck. We had the family code camp, field trips. We went all over in Minot, Lewis and Clark State Park, the airport, just different fun things for our kids. Buddy Thursdays was a monthly event in which we paired grade levels together to do activities, and our counselor actually came up with this, which is so fun. And they were STEM activities, reading activities. But imagine already going into school and saying, oh, I already have a big friend, or I know a little bit, I can't wait to see it again. And so I think that's also, we were doing something the bar wanted to, was creating these collaborative relationships among each other. And so that was kind of a neat part to know that we're doing something right already. And then the last one is our engagement lab. So we were able to secure funds, get a grant for an engagement lab. So an engagement lab essentially is be a room this size, there's projectors, and we want to have an interactive learning experience. Well, I'm going to teach you about the rainforest and all the levels of the rainforest, but you're sitting inside of it, you're listening to it, it's projected on the walls. So we just immerse kids in some really neat experiences. So we're excited for that. Next slide, please. School culture. I started with 3 types: student-centered, student parent-centered, and then staff-centered. So this is stuff we did, just a little piece here and there. We did do, as you heard, morning meeting you time, the Hawk pledge, the pledge that says this, I'm here, this is who I am, this is, we're Hawks, we're proud, this is what we do. Student Outstanding Achievement Recognition, that's a monthly award that we give to kids. We did decide to add a little bit more, and you know what, let's add some more kids to it. Why can't, by the end of the year, almost every kid in our school get it, right? What a powerful piece to do, because we can't all be a perfect student, or, you know, everybody needs to shine for that thing that makes them great. We have iRock, iReady, you saw, 5th grade choir, Fitness Fun Day, Buddy Thursdays, the TA program. And then we do daily announcements. So that's Mr. Ledoux and myself. We think we're funny. And we thought there are all of these announcements over the PA, and the kids didn't know who we were. Like, I could honestly walk down the hallway and they didn't know who I was. Just from my, you know, your voice, that's all they hear. So next slide, we went a step further, school culture, and we have such a great time with this because students are involved, as you can see, staff's involved. We go to classrooms, kids get to do it. Actually, Dr. Germanson has been on our news before, so we try to bring, so if any of you board members would like to be on our news, you're more than welcome to come be on it. But it's a great way to connect with kids, and we like to theme it appropriately, like it might be about October, Thankful Thursday, or just whatever we can get the kids in there to share. If we have incentives, they come on and we talk about like, oh, I'm so excited for Reading Month. I'm so excited for this. So just a great way to improve our staff culture and have a student spotlight. Next slide, please. So with our school culture, the parent-student portion with BAR, here's where we started. So at the back to school barbecue open house night, we created this like parent assignment. You came in, it was a station, do a U time with your kiddo, right? This is something we're going to do every single day with your kiddo, every week. This is what it looks like. This is why we're using BAR. What is BAR? What is this word my kid's talking about? And so we gave them a little game and a folder to do a U time at home. So they kind of understood the meaning behind BAR and what we wanted to do. Next slide, please. So here's some parent-student things that we did this last year. Like I said, back to school, we had a great backpack giveaway where we thanked the community because, I mean, they were wonderful, helping us fill many backpacks for kids. A Title I parent meeting. We had trunk or treat, Santa. We did have a 4th grade potluck, this cultural potluck. This was so amazing. And families brought in these dishes and shared stories of why they were special, or it was just amazing. It filled like our whole gym, and I'm not gonna lie, that we maybe went and ate there a couple of times. It was delicious. So that was really fun. We're very food oriented. We worked at McDonald's Fall Festival, Pumpkin Patch Night. There was many other things. These are just a few things we did, and we want to say thank you to our PTO because without them, we couldn't do what we do. Next slide, please. So what can we do to be better this year? So I think we need to continue to create meaningful opportunities for our families because that's how we get them out there. And we want to showcase, we want you to come be part of the school. Come see your kiddo. Let's do things together. Strengthen the communication. I know we do very well with parents and things like that. We can always do better. I do like that we in the spring do parent teacher conferences and they're student led. So we ask parents to come out and we have children lead them because it's about them. It's not about us. It's about them sharing what they're learning as they're doing it. So I know we do a good job. Fostering a welcoming environment. That's the biggest thing. When you come in the door, you need to feel like we are so excited you're here. We want your student to feel like that. We want the parents to feel like that too. Opportunities for feedback and collaboration. We can't get better if we don't listen to the parents and we don't say, what do you think? Like, is this going well? Is this not? Like, that's one of my favorite things. Please tell me on your way out, how did you like it? You know, I'm always open for what can we do better. And I think our biggest thing is we believe that when families are involved, students succeed. Because you're just that big circle comes all the way around going back to bar. So I really feel that. And I know our school does too. Next slide, please. All right, school culture. So staff survey, this was really neat. Vital Network comes in, beginning of the year, we talk, we're in school for a bit and our teachers and staff get to voice, what do they think? We think in our rose colored glasses, it's all beautiful, but what do they think? So the first one says there's a process building leadership uses to effectively address student behavior. So we have a 5.8 on that. What are we going to do to make it better? It's out of a scale 0 to 7. I'll preface with that. And so we went back and created a new behavior matrix. So we asked our teachers, what about this do you need from us? What do you need? And so we sat down and we talked about it and we have this beautiful new matrix for our kiddos, our teachers and our staff. So that's exciting. The next one says my building leadership acknowledges the good work I do, 6.16. So out of 7, that's pretty good. But again, what can we do better? Do we need to come in more acknowledgement? Do you want us to pop in? You know, we asked them, what can we do? So we can tell you you're doing a great job or give you some help if you need some mentoring or teach a lesson that maybe is tricky for you. Next one, there's a process building leadership uses to effectively address safety issues, 6.11. This one I'm really proud of. Number 1, due to our location, can be weather. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but if my staff feel safe, they're going to make students feel safe and they're going to want to come to work every day because they feel safe, because that's the first thing. Next slide, please. My school is a positive place to work, 6.36. That's a really great one. And then we had people tell us why. Why do you feel that? What are the things we're doing that are making it you feel that way, that you want to come here? And that was neat to hear. And just kind of at a staff meeting, a share out to say tell us why. My building leadership actively seeks feedback from staff about how the school is run, 5.93. We use this to create 3 different teams in our school this year, the building leadership team, the instructional leadership team, and the PLC team. So these teams can take these things where, okay, what can we do better? And their input, they're going to take it and run with it and tell us how we're going to change things. So what better than to have your staff be part of the solution? And then last one, staff have a process through which we work with building leadership to improve our school, 5.91. Again, these committees would piggyback that. So we want them to have voice in what we do, because 1 brain is great, 15 is better than 1, 30 is better than 15. So you can't lose, right? The odds. Next slide, please. And I just want to say thank you first to everybody in this picture, because without my staff and amazing people that come to work every day for our kids, I wouldn't be standing up here being able to share all these things, because it takes a village. It definitely does. And I thank you guys for your time.
Board members, any questions?
Comment.
Mrs. Moore?
Thank you again. You do a good job. And I know that your staff respect you. I know several staff that work there. And they talk very, very highly of you and the fact that you are approachable and that you follow up with staff and that you check in with staff, especially if you notice somebody not quite acting themselves, maybe being a little bit melancholy. So I respect that and I thank you for doing it. I love the Thursdays still.
We still.
A lot.
There's-
That, yeah, that is definitely one of my favorites. So thankful Thursdays. Everything is great, but that one is definitely one of my favorites. And I know that, Garden Valley is not my assigned school, but I would love to come and do one of your, broadcasts. I think that would be fun.
It's Ask Dr. Germanson and we have, it's fun and the kids love it.
Yeah, I think it would be
They,
fun.
they think he's a doctor.
I'm
so-
better.
We left it at that.
It went off the rails a little bit.
It's elementary.
So, but thank you again. So, yeah.
Board members, anything else? Quickly, I just had one question for you. With your Vital Network survey, do you know the planned date for the next one to occur?
So it's interesting because there's three different ones. This is the one I like the best, and then the other two give you a different kind of information, but I really like these color coded because I can like pinpoint down, like it's beautiful and people look at the picture and the color and it's better. So this is done in the fall.
This one.
Yeah.
Mr. Bush?
First things, it's nice to see you without the cast.
I know, right? I stayed off the playground.
So, could you talk more about the Buddy Thursdays and kind of the framework behind that? I think that's an amazing idea.
Yes.
Proactive way to kind of get in front of. like,
Well,
the people.
we started the first year with our instructional coach at the time was Tessa Helston. She came to me and said, could we do something like this? And so we sat down and started to pair up kids and then what activities are we gonna do? So we started with like a STEM we started with a rotation. It started in the library. Then we came out to lunchroom and did a STEM activity. And then they had an activity in the gym and they'd rotate. And so that seemed to go pretty well. And it was like an hour block. And we figured out the grade levels we thought that would work best together. And then this next year, Counselor Jessica Conlon took it over and then she had the kids in the lunchroom this entire time. And it was pretty cool because she did all three of those things right there. And because I think we're in year two, the kids understand the process. I know who my buddy is. It stayed the same, like it was really neat. And then this next year, I'm excited to see, because they could be making projects together. They could, I mean, really, really go for it because they do know each other. And it's really neat to see them around the school too. Hey, that's my buddy, high five, yeah. So it's a great way for our kids to get to know
It's
each
an
other.
awesome concept. Would like to see it kind of continue.
Yes, we have no reasons to get rid of it, just add to it and,
Yeah.
you know, maybe a field trip, maybe let's take them somewhere to do an activity together.
Yeah, just a couple comments, just to kind of piggyback off that Buddy Thursday and based off of what you said, my kids had that. And they still talk about their third grade buddy to this day, so I love that you do that. Another thing that you mentioned were the boundaries, when you said just being mindful of like the kids' pathways as we transition over the next year or so. And I appreciate that you said that, because that's something that I, as a parent and, you know, being on the board, need to be mindful of too, so I appreciate you bringing that up. And then the student spotlight, having that on the news show, that's so cute. I mean, just like the possibilities of like, you know, that's like a small, if you think about it, like an internship for them, to think maybe can I be a newscaster one day or
Yeah.
something? So I love that you brought that up there as well.
We give it back to the fifth graders at the end of the year. We don't broadcast, they do. So we really, that's what we get to that point where it's just theirs. Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
As always, thank you very much. We are very appreciative of what you and your staff do and what the staff around the district does. I love seeing that you guys are moving the needle. You know, a lot of people can get unrealistic ideas of what growth should look like and what it should be. But, you know, I think this board understands that growth is growth and we're getting to see it at our schools. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Moving on to item number 4, communicating with the public. Pull up the new script. Just change that to match the updated laws that we now have. Very small. All right, public participation at board meetings. Sorry, it's glitched out. Here it is. Public participation at board meetings is governed by district policy BCBA. Meetings of the board are conducted for the purpose of carrying on the business of the schools and therefore are not public meetings, but meetings held in public. It is the policy of this board to afford that opportunity in accordance with the following procedures and North Dakota Century Code 44-04-20.1. Only items on the published board agenda or on the previous meeting's published agenda will be discussed at any meeting of the board unless the superintendent or a board member requests an addition to the agenda of a regular meeting and the board members present approve in accordance with board policy. No individual may speak more than once. Please state your name for the record. State the agenda item you are speaking to. Comments will be limited to no more than 3 minutes per individual. Public comment will be limited to no more than 30 minutes in total. The board adopted policies governing patron complaints. The public is required to seek redress through these policies. The public will be prevented from commenting on a topic if it is governed by a district complaint policy and the complainant has not followed the procedure contained in policy and or the policy prohibits the public from bringing the complaint before the board. Concerns a topic that is prohibited by law from disclosure to the public, such as a student's educational record. Undue interruption or other interference with the orderly conduct of board business cannot be allowed. Defamatory or abusive remarks are always out of order. The presiding officer may terminate the speaker's privilege of address if, after being called to order, he persists in improper conduct or remarks. Furthermore, any individual who is persistently disruptive of a school board meeting may be removed from the meeting by the order of the presiding officer. Board members will not engage in dialogue with the public comment period. Questions may be answered by the presiding officer or an administrator at the following meeting or in writing at a later time. If you wish to provide any public comment this evening, please step forward to the podium, announce your name for the record, as well as the agenda item you are speaking on this evening. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? We did not have public comment at our last meeting, so we will move on to item number 5, informational report to the board, summer mill report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gina Barbie, and I'm the food service director for the school district. And I have a great win that I would love to share with you all. Next slide, please. So we did summer feeding this year, as some of you may know, and it was highly successful thanks to our communications department, a lot of it to our communications department. They did a great job getting the word out. We had 35 days that we served the meals. And we did 5,146 breakfasts and 22,449 lunches over those 30 days. We're very busy, but it was very rewarding. This is one of my favorite programs that food service does throughout the year. It really helps. You can see it in the kids' faces. It's a really amazing program, and I'm very blessed that we get to do that in this school district. Next slide, please. So our service locations, we do breakfast, which we added this year at McVeigh, which was very successful. And then the middle school, which is a closed campus, which assists in getting those kid campers across the street at Innovation, some of the summer school kids, some of the and then some of like the SPED kids also get free breakfast and lunch as well. We also do lunch at McVeigh, which is open, Garden Apartments, Davidson, Splash Pad, Housing Authority Park. And then again, the central campus is closed. But that again provides lunches to the kids, campus kids, and SPED kids and summer school kids. Next slide, please. This is a reimbursement, just a little inside baseball stuff for you guys. It's what we get reimbursed from the state and the feds to run this program. That's per meal with the addition of the administrative reimbursement so that we can have people that can bring the buses out and feed the kids. Next slide, please. so you can see here the increase in participation. We did 29, a little over 2,900 breakfasts in 2024, and it was just at Central Campus, which nearly doubled or 75% increase to 2025, which is huge. To me, it's just huge giving those kids breakfast. A slight increase for lunch from 19,000 lunches to 22, almost 2,500 lunches. It's amazing to me. I'm looking to maybe add another location next year if the powers let me, that DPI. Next slide, please. And just another little informational slide, for the next upcoming school year, the eligibility has increased. The state is paying 225,000 of the federal poverty line. So we urge all members of the community to please fill out an application. It helps with title funding. It helps with all sorts of things, not just free lunch, but those kids need those free lunches. The state also pays the reduced fee for the lunches. So the 40 cents that they would normally have to pay, the state is paying that for this year as well. Go ahead, next slide. I think that's it. Food service, we're a necessity. We kids can't learn if they're hungry. We take great pride. All of my staff takes great pride in making sure that there are no kids that go hungry. No matter what their income is, no matter what their status is on their meal fund, we all know where that's at with their balance, but we make sure that those children always get a breakfast and they always get a lunch. And we take great pride in that, making sure that those children always have something to eat. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Board members, any questions? Mr. Marsh?
I just wanted to extend a thank you. I know obviously firsthand with how closely you work with our campus club programs, particularly in the summer, the impact. It's annual, it's year round. Students not only learn better when they're fed, and behavior, the social collaboration, all of those things. So I just wanted to extend a thank you. It's extremely important what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else, board members? Thank you very much. We're very proud of the service.
Thank you.
5B, monthly financial report.
So, we have a couple changes this year in how budgets have to be done. We used to have the budget hearings, and so on, but with the last legislative session, they've changed that up. We don't, need to do the hearings anymore, but we're kind of treating, I guess, this as a hearing, and then we've got to have the information available on our website. And then anytime between September 7th and October 7th, we have to adopt the budget. So we'll have it this meeting and then next meeting if there's any questions, and then we'll move for adoption, or if we have to delay it till October, kind of similar to having the hearings, but we're having them at the regular board meetings. With that, they've also changed up how we can increase, or if we need to increase our mill levies, we're capped at 3%. And so there's 3 different calculations that I have to do. We look back on the last 3 years, what we've done in levies. We have to take into consideration any bonded debt that we have. And it all determines then what our percentage is. And we're limited at the 3. And when we went through the calculations, which there's a bunch of spreadsheets and a bunch of numbers that probably you guys aren't too concerned about, but if you want to see it, stop by and I can show you. But basically where we're standing right now, we don't have to worry about that cap. We're fine. So what that means is we get to bank that 3%. So next year, if something happens and things flip around and we need some extra because we've slipped and say we're only at 1%, but we can borrow the 2% from the prior year to make us full again. There's also some some kind of, I don't know if you want to call them reimbursement opportunities in there that that we could apply for if we are in that situation to help us fill that gap. Right now, the way we're looking, even though we're okay at the 3%, the calculations say that we could apply for $10,000 on there. So we'll look to see where all of that falls in. So kind of going with that, I've put a few things together on here where we're looking. Of course, with our budgets, we're looking at our mission, vision, all of our strategic plan on how all of this is put together, where our priorities are, which is one nice thing about having the strategic plan that the district works through. We have that direction on where those dollars need to go. So we're following off of that, trying to make sure that we get, all of our students educated in a, in a reasonable manner and moving forward with them. And I went over a little bit on the next slide, the House bill and things that changed up. So we're no longer a budget hearing. We're just kind of having a budget presentation. The next few slides just kind of show where Williston stands compared to the rest of the state. So like our revenues, we're about 55.5% of our revenues come from the state. On the next slide, our average pupil or per pupil expenditure, we're kind of at the bottom of all of the comparable districts. We're at 12,088. So that kind of goes hand in hand with our revenue and student count and all of that. So the next slide, the mill levy comparisons. So the state average 79.74. In 23-24, we were about 81.7. But we're still kind of in the middle there compared to the other districts. Fargo is an anomaly there because they actually went out to the public for a vote to increase their general fund mill. So everybody gets the 70, but they took a vote to the public and increased that. I can't remember if it was 20 mils or something that they added to it, but so that's why they have such an increase there in their mills. So then moving on to what we're looking at for the next year. So right now on the next slide, if we look at our projected revenues, we're looking about 88.7 million. And then our expenditures about 87.7, 87.8, which is surplus. So add to our fund balance of about just a hair under $1 million. So we're always trying to maximize our revenues and expenditures, but yet we still need to add that cushion to our fund balance because ultimately, if we ever go for another bond, the bonding companies look at where our fund balance is. And then also we have board policies that kind of give us a parameter where we're at. And of course, like I mentioned a few months ago, we are below where the board would like us to be. So we're trying to build that back up with not overspending revenues. On the next slide. So on here, again, our mill levies, it's a calculation based on the taxable value of the boundaries of the school district. So basically it's 1/1000 of the taxable value. So you can see over on the right-hand side for the taxable value, we're projected to be at 270 million. So basically a mill is worth 270,000. You'll also notice the percentages over there on the far right is the increases over the last year. And so you can see from last year to this year, we didn't have much of an increase for our taxable values. And our initial projections, we had them at 2%. So we had to lower that based on this. So, and these are just projected values. The final taxable value comes out, I believe, like the 1st of November is when the set taxable values are, and then that's when they set out the tax notices and everything like that too, so. But one thing too, the larger the taxable value, the bigger spread of the cost of the mills is, so even if we increase our mills a little bit, it's spread out, so you know, your taxpayers may see very little of an impact actually on their tax statement. But with this, we're looking for a total levy of just a little over 32 million. So with that, it's 70 mills in the general. The special reserve is 0.93. And I'm going to come back to that here in just a minute. The special assessment is 2.46. So we're staying the same with the other ones, aside from sinking interest. So with the new elementary coming on and different things, so that fluctuated a little bit these last couple of years. And then the miscellaneous and tuition. So coming back to the special reserve, I talked about this a little bit last year, and we decided to take it off last year. But that special reserve is kind of a tool where we can use to gain a little bit of spending ability within our budget, because if we have that special reserve full, we can actually move some money from special reserve to general fund and be able to get some more spending power. But the reason I'm talking about maybe taking that off again is we had a meeting last week with the state and they talked a lot about tuition. And I'm doing some research, which I'll have out in our weekly updates here the next couple of weeks. But we pay out whenever a student is assigned or sent to a facility, we get charged tuition for those. In 23-24, it was like 350,000, almost 375,000. This last year, it was 600 and almost 650,000. And right now with the 0.65 that's on there, that's about 170,000. So I'm doing some investigating and seeing, because we do get reimbursed for some of that from the state, but not all of it. So we may be looking at doing an adjustment there with tuition so that we, you know, it's not a hit on our general fund, because anything that isn't reimbursed, we automatically have to pay out of our general fund, which then eats into education dollars and things like that. So there'll be more information coming. Any questions so far?
Board members, any questions so far?
I do.
Mr. Brown?
On slide 5, where our district is efficient at the per pupil expenditure, you know what we can attribute that to?
A lot of it is just because we're limited with revenues because of where our enrollment is. So it's very tied to the enrollment count, but then also just how, you know, we're levying the mills and different things like that. So I mean, not saying that we're not, like say, we're being efficient with our dollars, so it's not a bad thing. But But there's very little that, we can do to increase that unless we get more revenue.
Thank you.
I guess if I could
Dr.
answer
Johnson?
what Mr. Brenner's gonna talk about, I guess if the question is there something that we're not spending on that we could do to improve our education or anything like that, the results? I would say no.
And I don't think I was necessarily
Okay,
digging that deep. It was interesting that
Yeah.
we're more efficient than all but 25 districts out of the 146.
Yeah, and it's, and there are some things, we've got some general dollars that go to activities, maintenance, things like that. So it's like, where do you find that sweet spot to do that?
Yes, Mr. Bell. It's the Marsh. Question for, I think, Dr. Jameson or Mr. Arnold, is this at all tied to like truancy or how we're trying to like get consistent with truancy and our schools and attendance? Is this tied to that?
It could, I don't know if it really.
I mean, could it
affects us
be a
that bad.
factor? Yes.
It would, it could add some. Because it is tied to our student count and number of days of attendance and things like that.
I know that's a challenge for us right now, is to keep our kids in schools and especially when.
And that's where the OSS has helped some. I don't know if there's been any in-depth digging on that yet, what the effect was, but that will have a positive effect on.
But if
on
the
a lot
kid's
of
not
those.
there on the count day, yeah, you don't get counted for them, so.
Anything else, board members? Proceed. Mr. Arnold, you can proceed.
So then, on the next slide is just, these are kind of some history, trends and different things. So you can see with our income, their revenues based on local, county, state, and federal. The local is basically our tax levies, and then the county, a big part of that is our oil revenue. So that was another thing, our initial projections last spring, we had a little bit more projected for oil revenue. We backed that off because, as we know, it's not as gangbusters as we thought it was gonna be. One of the joys of being in this area. And then with federal, so when we get all of our final numbers done, you are gonna see that what we had budgeted for federal last year, or you'll see even here, 5.1 million, and we had actual 2.8. So is what that's telling us is that we didn't get all of our title federal programs claimed before June 30th. That was one of my goals this last year, was make sure that we had all that done. But we didn't quite get there, but we have plans in place for this year. So we're going to have claims done and submitted by the 10th of each month. Because right now it's, we're still claiming stuff from a year ago. So it's staying on top of those claims, making sure our grants coordinator is staying on top of everything that's there. And then I've since also assigned one of the people in my office to specifically track and keep track of the federal grants, and she's going to be the one submitting the claims. She'll be keeping all of that rolling each month so that it stays on task and on track. So looking at that, that is going to affect our fund balance for this year. So if we would have had that, we would have, significantly added to our fund balance. But and it's not, and we are still getting those dollars. It's not that we're not getting those, we are still getting them. We've got a lot of them in the month of July, and they're finishing up this month. But so with that coming in and then staying on track with this year's federal programs, then our fund balance for the end of this year should reflect better than what I'm projecting for the fund balance increase of that 932,000. So it's, you know, it's kind of a numbers game, but not, it's just that it's overlapping fiscal years. And then on the next slide, these are our projections for payroll with the negotiated 3.19% increase. One thing that we're going to see, to see if I have it in here, but we did have on the total ending budget for fiscal year 25, our payroll ended up being over what we were budgeted. But for those of you that were here, if you remember, we were instructed to take all empty positions off of the budget, but then ended up still hiring for those positions. So I tried to, you know, put budget into other areas. We had to cover that, which we did because we ended up, you know, our expenditures were still lower than our revenues. So we were still under budget within the fiscal year 25. But again, because of the fund balance, we didn't have that benefit like I was expecting. So we were still under budget, but we did have that increase or over in payroll expenses. So with here, you can see I've got it broken out, certified, extra duty, substitutes, classified, and different things with all of the benefits that go at that. And the benefits here are all of the district paid benefits. There are matches on the health insurance and the life insurance and different things that the employee puts into, but these are just specifically what the district pays. On the next slide, so we're doing things a little bit different again with the site budgets. So before I could not see a rhyme or reason of how much money each site got. It was just increased by a certain percentage each year and they moved on. So I went through, tried to kind of average overall sites, what was spent, and got an average as far as like $1 per student. So with this, we came up with $85 per student on the elementary, $125 on the middle school, and then $250 on the high school. And it's all going to be based on what the enrollment is. So these numbers are our spring count, and then we'll have the actual fall count in October. And so we'll adjust these accordingly. If they got more kids, they'll get a little bit more money. If they lost kids, then it'll shift. So, and then going forward, then this is my kind of goal with all of this is then that the sites will be able to more plan for their needs. And so they'll be able to see on the projections where we're at with student count, student movement, and then be able to plan for their sites for their needs. And then with the custodial, I kept that separate because in the past, it was the sites had to, within their site budget, cover custodial costs. But the public uses our buildings so much that I felt that they shouldn't necessarily have to be dinged for their building needs to cover custodial. So I just come up with an average of about $40 per student that they get to use. Then that covers paper towels, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, you know, all of the stuff to clean and maintain that building. And then on the next slide is then more of the district department areas of the budget. So we've got the site budgets, the site custodial. And again, I mentioned we have some maintenance and repairs that still come out of the general fund. So, the 650 and the 600,000 is, the 650 is more for the maintenance area for their budget, for their, repairs and different things that they need to do. But then I still separated out that 600,000 for, to be split amongst the sites, so any minor repairs and different things that, they need, painting, whatever it is. We have a line item for that. Again, it's, we're still working with the long-term plan of where we're at with deferred maintenance. So we're trying to fill in what we can off of the general fund to help out where we can in the building fund. And so all of the different areas that we have within the district as far as where their budgets go. One thing too that have done a little bit different is, like, especially at the sites, like they have their dollar amount. And then before used to have them give us line by line by line what they think their budget is. Well, it changes and things happen and you end up not spending what you need here, but you need it here. So I've set up what I call parent-child budgeting. So the parent has their set dollar amount and all the accounts underneath there are the children. So as long as the parent has money, the children have money, no matter who spends what. So if it's supplies or, different things. So then they don't have to worry about line item. They just need to worry about their total and what their plan is for that. And then we worry about where is that coded so that when we report to the state that everything is where it needs to be. And then the next slide is just a couple graphs of where we've been the last few years as far as budget versus actual on expenditure and revenue. And again, on the revenue is because of the claiming of the federal reimbursement. And then on the next slide is just a summary of all this. So this would be the report that then I have to turn into the county as far as what we look to set for our mills and the amount of the tax levy. So these are all preliminary based on the taxable value. And the reason for the two different taxable values up there at the top for 7 and 1 is because of in the sinking and interest fund, there was bonded debt from District 1 before the merger. So just District 1 boundaries pay for that versus the District 7 debt, like New, Slow, and Elementary, that's throughout the whole 270 million taxable value. So then when calculating the sinking and interest fund, then I have to do that separate calculation to determine what the total levy is, but based on the different mill values within that. And then the next slide. So these are the projected fund balances for ending year June 30th. So, and again, these are preliminary projected because we don't have our audit done. And so they'll be verified at when we get the audit, in which, speaking of audits, we've got this information or found the information that they needed last week. So I haven't visited with them yet today to see then, how long they're going to need to get that done, but we're close. But then our audit for fiscal year 25 we'll have done in November, December timeframe. So we'll get back on the correct schedule. And then 2, once we get the last the 2 years that we're working on done and get this year done, we'll be in a better position to go out for bid to get other auditing firms to be willing to come in and do our audit. So like you're kind of stuck with the state auditors for this current audit. But after we get this one done, then for next year, we should be able to go out for bid again and be competitive and get some different opportunities and things for getting that audit done. The other thing with this is then I take these and then balance that to the bank statements. So this is where all of our bank statements tie back to, because I basically do this fund balance thing each month. And so once we get everything closed out for the last year, then I'll be able to then provide you guys with that sheet or the reports that I've done before where I show, you know, the fund balance versus the bank statement and outstanding checks and all of that. So. Questions?
Board members, any questions?
Yes.
Mrs. Wood?
Okay, so slide 10, you're talking about the grants and what was lost. How much money was left on the table, are you thinking?
So we haven't per se left money on the table.
Okay,
It's just the timing of the reimbursement.
got it.
So, like I say, we've probably got, close to 75% of that, but almost 2.5 million, in July. But since it wasn't, you know, reimbursed until in July, which is the new fiscal year, we can't backdate it and record it. So it is coming.
Okay.
And that's where I was saying that, you know, it'll affect our fund balance this year, but it's going to help our fund balance next year.
Yeah, I just wanted, just the way that you explained it, I got the impression that we may have lost some of it because things were not submitted at the appropriate times. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't actually lose any of that grant money. And I'm glad we have those safeguards in place to make sure that things are done every month.
And then we do get to carry over too. So once we get everything submitted, we will have some carryover that will add to what we can claim then in the next year's grants.
Okay, perfect, excellent, thanks. And then my other question that I had is on slide 12, when it came to the budgets. How did you come up with the dollar amount per student?
I just kind of went back through the last 2-3 years of actual expenditures within the sites. And because like I say, it would be, you know, one site would seem like they would have, you know, a whole bunch of money to spend, and another site would have very little and barely get by. And so I basically kind of combined all the sites, combined the total number of students, kind of got an average each year to kind of see where we were at as far as what the part of the site budgets was spending to get a dollar value to assign to a student.
Okay, so a couple of sub questions within that. What are they using that money for in each individual school that's coming out of that budget? What's the intended use?
So mainly, a lot of it is paper, pens, you know, office supplies type things for the classrooms.
Mhm.
But then also if they're doing special projects, field trips, if they want to pick something up within curriculum that supplements what the district is already doing. So they're using it for, you know, the kids, what's to get, you know, educate kids, but then also keep their site running as far as the paper and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Did you talk with any of the principals when you set up the dollar amount budgets for them?
I met last spring with them. and explained how I come up with it and what we were gonna do. And they were all very receptive of it because of the planning that, you know, they knew based on what they saw that the student count was gonna be, I mean, what their dollars would be available for them, so.
Okay, good, yeah, because I know that a lot of our teachers, you know, spend a lot of money out of their own pockets towards their classrooms, and it's always been a personal goal of mine to start, you know, minimizing that so that they're not having to spend their own personal money to keep their classrooms going. So hopefully, time will tell if this new budget will start to alleviate some of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and each site does it different, you know, like some of them may give a dollar amount to teachers, some of them may just kind of put it all into a pot and then work together to see what's needed, so. But this way, knowing what they're gonna have from year to year will hopefully help them better plan and work through all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those details are not in my realm. That is up to the superintendent and individual schools to come up with those themselves, just the budget as a whole. So, all right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything else, Ms. Ward?
No, those are my only two questions, right?
Board members?
Yeah, I just want to say the site budget part, like that is easy to read from like a public standpoint, because everybody's worried about where money is going, but that is simple, and I like that a lot. And the total payroll of 70 million, does that include all open positions like your extracurriculars and everything?
Yep, so like last spring, we met with all of the sites, went through all of the positions, talked about needs and wants. And so, and as a admin team, then tried to fit all of that in as far as we could see as what the budget can handle. So, and that was one thing, one of our goals was to put all of those open positions back into the budget. So that, you know, if we can find somebody, we have the budget to fill it, but then two, you know, like, is it math or English at the high school? I mean, we have open positions, but you can't find them, but yet you still need them because if the teacher comes along, you still gotta fill that, so.
If positions aren't filled, what's that extra budgeted money, where's that go?
So it goes to the long-term subs to cover their salary. And then any extra pay for class cover that has to, because then if, you know, even if we have a teacher in a classroom, but we are majorly short on subs, then other teachers can then fill in, and so then they get paid above and beyond to cover that extra class too. So then that goes to help pay for that also.
We have like extended contracts, so a teacher at the high school teaches 5 classes. If there's not an English teacher, you get 5 teachers and they'll pick up an extra. Then you cover that extra teacher, but then they're getting paid for an extended contract, and they do that at Central Campus as well.
Mr. Brent, do we know approximately how much is spent on extra duty contracts in a given year?
Not off the top of my head, but I could give that.
Just out of curiosity. Is that number increasing or decreasing, do you know, or?
Increasing.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, it helps the budget too, and that's why you'll see last year is that, you know, we didn't necessarily cover for those class covers or the extended contracts or things like that. So, but yeah, it's, as it gets harder to find teachers and subs, it's, you're, you know, reimbursing people to do that extra work, so.
Thank you. Anything else?
So you have all of this, I mean, please feel free to delve into it some more. If you have questions, let me know, I can get them answered for you. Like I say, I'll keep you abreast of what's going on with the tuition piece over the next couple weeks to see where all that lands. And we'll go from there.
account reconciliations on task, we're staying balanced with those.
Yeah, it's getting easier because we're actually using the system to do it instead of trying to do it by hand, so.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Board members, if you have any questions, please reach out to Dr. Jermison and he'll make sure that Mr. Arnold gets you the information that you need. And then anything that does come back, that will be sent out in our weekly report so that we can stay up to date until we can get this ready for approval. Thank you. Moving on to item 6A, approved results policy, 8, monitoring report.
All right, hello, everybody. If we could please go to anything. Results 8, innovation and technology, monitoring period in August, summary of policy. The long-range technology plan will be reviewed and presented annually in accordance to the school board's annual monitoring calendar. You're gonna see further down, I think it's the next agenda item, that Ms. Voorhees, our tech director, presented the long-range tech plan at our last planning committee. And so hear about that a little bit from, I believe Heather is the chair for that, right? Okay, so part of my interpretation, this is all from the tech plan here. So the evidence 2.1, it goes and lists, like you said, all of this is in our technology plan, the benchmark that the tech department will provide resources. We develop a plan that provides our staff and students tech resources. And it talks about implementing a 4-year replacement cycle, updating devices. And if you go through all of that, you will see that you have all of those answered. It's a quite in-depth tech plan. She wrapped it up. It was one of the things that she'd been working for, and Dr. Schatz with our strategic plan helped us kind of wrap that up. So we have a tech plan now, and we will be following that. So going with that, I would like to say that following that, I am in compliance with result 8, innovation and technology.
Board members, any questions? Seeing none. Do we have a motion to, so any going forward, what we want to do with our motion is, it's going to be a twofold motion. It should say interpretation is reasonable. After that, it would be evidence supports compliance, or if you would like to request fault. So we would like it to, your motion, if you're in agreement with this, interpretation is reasonable, evidence supports compliance. That's the 2 points that we want to hit on these. Anybody has a motion?
I motion that interpretation is reasonable.
And
And both. of them.
evidence supports.
It's fine. I didn't know we were doing one at a time.
No, we would do both of them. If there is a disagreement, at that point, we would request a follow-up or consider a policy. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Paula, could you call the roll?
Barsh.
Aye.
Smuder.
Aye.
Brenner.
Aye.
Kilgore.
Aye.
Johnson. Wheeler.
Aye.
Swint.
Aye, motion carries. 6B, approved operational expectation 1, global operational expectation monitoring report.
All right, this one is kind of near and dear to my heart. Summary of policy, operational expectation 1, the superintendent shall not cause, allow, or fail to take reasonable measures to prevent any practice, activity, condition, or organizational condition that is unlawful, unethical, unsafe, disrespectful, prudent, inequitable, violates board policy, or endangers the district's public image or credibility. That's nothing that I want to be doing. I think that you hired the right guy, and I've got some proof, but this is one of those things where I believe that you would hear otherwise. I have some evidence of compliance here, but it's one of those things where you would hear from people on the street. Oh, I ran into the superintendent and he was whatever, right? So I hope that if anybody meets me out in public, they'll see that I'm just the same old nice guy that's standing here. So let's go through evidence of compliance. The superintendent ensures compliance with OE1, framework of administrative policies, through consistent district-wide decision-making. I have obviously my admin team, my executive team, monthly meetings, coordinators, directors, and we make decisions, with district goals, ongoing communication. Superintendent actively engages with community members and leaders to build strong relationships that support the district's mission and promote a positive school environment. As you know, I'm a guy from Williston. I got grown kids. I have a grandson. I'm out and about. You'll run into me in Walmart or at a baseball game or at a firefighter award night. You'll run into me. So concert, yeah. Newtown on the 23rd.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And then the last one, current administrative policies include strict protocols. Oh, excuse me. That talk about expectations through conduct and active participation in Class A superintendent groups in North Dakota. This past week, there was a superintendent meeting on Thursday, and then Thursday afternoon and Thursday night and Friday morning, it's called the study council, and all the Class A soups get together. So Ms. Ratzak and I went down and we got to talk about problems that are just prevalent to West Fargo. Fargo wasn't there, Bismarck and Mandan and Minot. And so Dickinson hanging with those people and representing Williston well. And so, yes, I take my job in that, representing Williston, very, very serious. So I would like to confirm that based on the above, that I am in compliance with being a good superintendent in the public eye.
I will say, in my bi-weekly meeting with Dr. Jorgensen, I let him know that this year, last year is gone. This year is truly the start of what will be his legacy in this district and how his leadership is received throughout our community. So I look forward to this year, and I'm excited to see how it goes, because I do truly believe this year is the start of his legacy for Williston, and we're going to see what that is. Board members, do we have a motion to approve the interpretation as reasonable and that evidence supports compliance?
I will move to have the global operational expectation monitoring report be an interpretation that is reasonable and in compliance.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Who is the second?
Vargas.
Johnson.
Oh, Johnson, sorry.
Any discussion, board members? Paul, you can call the roll.
Luder,
Aye.
Renner,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Hi.
Johnson,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Barsh.
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to matters reserved for board action. Approve the scope for the Lewis and Clark boiler project. Sorry, I apologize. Committee reports. Planning committee, Mrs. Willard, you were the chair.
Yes, I was made chair. I was not at this meeting because I was on vacation. So the information that is written in the minutes that was published to the board book, I believe to be thorough and up to date according to Mrs. Kilgore and Mrs. Sluter, who I was communicating with while I was out of the state and I was not in a good area to be able to connect virtually. But I will release over to Mrs. Kilgore if she has anything that she wanted to add to the minutes, or is that good? I know the meeting was very short.
Yes, no, you're correct. It was, and the minutes are spot on, so I don't have anything else to add.
Excellent. So, yeah, unless there's any questions in regards to the minutes, I will relinquish the floor.
Board members, any questions on the planning committee report? Okay. Moving on to 7B, the governance committee report. I chair that committee. We elected our chair for the position. We reviewed some of the post legislative administrative policy updates. Those policies specifically fall under Dr. Jorgensen and his team. Dr. Jorgensen, can you identify what your team makeup is, please?
Of the governance committee, we have,
Of your policy committee. for the
oh, excuse
administration.
me, yeah, you're right, policy committee. We have a representative from WIA. We have a representative from HR. We have a representative from admin team, and the teacher team, and from classified.
So as you guys can see, very robust group reviewing those policies. And from there, we did our review of the policies BCAA and BCBA. These were policies that just need to be updated to match law. Other than that, we went over the superintendent performance review. That was moved to the next meeting so that we could get more information. As Ms. Willard is a part of the committee, we wanted to see what exactly her input would be on that and how we could move forward. Any questions, board members? All right. So now we can move on to item number 8, matters reserved for board action. Approve the scope for the Lewis and Clark boiler project. Board members toured Lewis and Clark and had an opportunity to get a good idea of what was going to be occurring over there and get some questions answered. And if they needed follow-up questions answered. So we will hand that off. to JLG, J.E. Dunn. Mr. Licker.
Thank you. You're probably gonna need to say this.
Oh.
Good evening, Nick Lipper, JLG Architects. Appreciate the time today. Yeah, we had a great tour, the board workshop at Lewis and Clark, the main boiler replacement. Again, as just kind of hit the quick highlights of what that was about. Scope A was really about the heating of the building, right? Boiler replacements, some of the piping replacements in the basement. And also we talked about the vent tube radiation. Current recommendation is to get all of that designed as if it were a project going forward. And then we can pursue some potential alternates as those are built within it. And then the second piece of that, as we talked about on site, was the fresh air within the structure, replacing air handler units and distribution of that, well, not full distribution, but controls of the distribution of that unit for the air handler. Again, the goals of this project ultimately are obviously time. We're trying to pursue to get this thing scope so it can be completed next summer with as minimal interruption into the classroom space as possible. And then second, obviously, budget goals on the project, trying to pursue. I think right now we've budget roughly $2.5 million for the project and completion. So that's our guardrails for the project as we're going forward, and let's see some formal action and of approval to move forward with that scope as reviewed.
Board members, any questions?
I have one. Based on our, thank you, based on our tour, guys, we're gonna have a piece of pipe being checked. That information wasn't available at the time of the tour. Has that information come back?
No, we didn't expect to have it back this quickly either. We're trying to find a mechanical contractor to engage them to do that for us. I would say within the next, by next board meeting for sure, we should have some information on that. So the request would be to design the scope to replace the piping. And the air handler is a bid alternate. So that's your safety levers. In the event that we do have to replace all the piping in the school, you can make a decision not to purchase the air handler, and you can make that decision on bid day. So we need to authorize the design team to design at this time a piping replacement with an air handler as a bid alternate. Really hoping we're gonna be able to save the piping. So
Yes.
just not prudent planning to assume that right now until we go in there and cut open the system and look at it.
Correct. Thank you.
Board members, any other questions?
If the piping can be saved, how much time would that cut off the total job?
You know, the start and the start and end date won't change, but it will be significantly less labor hours. We're still gonna start when school gets out. And we're not gonna be able to fully start the system until the system's calling for heat, so we have to
we can get things in place and we'll be able to get things in place quicker. But you can't start up a boiler till it's cold enough to call for heat, so. It's still gonna be call it late September completion, but significantly less labor hours. It's a substantial cost savings. Yeah, sure hoping we can save all the piping.
I'm sorry, I wasn't there last week, but what's the piping being checked for?
Corrosion. So it's steel piping. And in order to prevent steel piping from corroding from the inside out, you have to treat it with chemicals every year. And suspicions are that that hasn't been consistently done
Are
since.
they gonna X-ray it? Or-
We'll drain the system down and we'll remove sporadic pieces of the pipe. This part of the building over here and down the hall here and over here, and we'll just probably like 3 or 4 places, just cut out a 1 foot long piece. And then you can visibly see the inside lining of the pipe and then you just weld it back into place.
Anything else, board members? So we would be looking for a motion this evening to approve the design scope and project.
Yeah, with the piping included in the base design and the air handler as a bit alternate. Yeah, sorry, I don't.
I'll make.
That's
easier for the
as presented.
bid process to proceed.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I missed the second beginning. So quiet.
It's Mr. Marsh.
Thank you.
Board members? What? You'd like to call a roll?
Brenner,
Yes.
Kilgore,
Yes.
Johnson,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Hirsch,
Aye.
Sluter. Aye. Swint.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Thank you.
Yes, please have a brief recess for laboratory.
We will take a quick 5-minute break.
That's all I request. Thank
And we
you.
will re-adjourn at 7:01.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 9. The superintendent consent agenda. Do we have a motion for that consent agenda?
So moved. I'll second.
Mrs. Wheeler and seconded by Mrs. Kilgore. I knew we were gonna have. Any discussion? I quickly just wanted to take a moment to thank Mrs. Allen for her time within our district and Mr. Allen. Appreciate all that they've done for the district and I've enjoyed my time with them. So.
Great.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Blair.
I'd also like to thank the Allens just for the time that they've spent in the district and a lot of the innovative changes, especially Mrs. Allen's made the library media department over the last several years.
Paul, can you call the roll?
Kilgore,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Barsh,
Aye.
Sluter,
Aye.
Brenner,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 10, board consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Wheeler,
Second.
Mrs. Slater. Any discussion? All of you call the roll.
Johnson,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Barsh,
Aye.
Sluter,
Aye.
Brenner,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to board debrief of the meeting. Mr. Johnson?
Done pretty well. Excited to do that with the Lewis and Clark thing, get that rolling. Made a couple notes from the Missouri Ridge presentation. I rock, I ready. That's a pretty cool saying. I mean, you say you rock, you ready. Just like that one.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see get the school year rolling and see how it goes.
Anything else, board members?
Everybody did a very good job. I like all the comment and discussion. It's good.
Yeah, this time is a great time of year because we start to get our school reports back in, and so those are some exciting times. We're gonna move on to item number 12, the executive session. With
You gonna step up?
board members that are going to accuse themselves
Yes.
from the discussion this evening in the executive session. Thank you, Mrs. Willow and Mr. Brenner. I do appreciate that.
Absolutely. Everyone have a very good evening.
And quickly, after executive session, we will just end the meeting and adjourn, so there will be no further discussion after. So you guys won't miss anything other than the executive.
Excellent. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is an executive session for attorney consultation for the purpose of attorney consultation regarding pending claims, litigation, proposed settlement, and or adversarial administrative proceedings in connections with claimants from Wilkinson Elementary represented by attorneys from the KLAL Law Firm and Storms Dworak LLC in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The school board may receive attorney advice and guidance on the legal risks, strengths, and weaknesses of potential negotiations with claimants, which, if held in public, would have an adverse fiscal effect on the school district. This item may be discussed in executive session because of the portion of the meeting of a school board during which an attorney consultation occurs may be closed by the governing body. The legal authority for closing this portion of the meeting is North Dakota Century Code Section 44-4-19.1, subdivisions 2, 5, and 9. The topic or purpose of this executive session is for the board to receive attorney consultation and for the board to provide direction on potential negotiations with claimants. At this time, a motion would be in order to discuss this topic in executive session rather than in an open meeting. Is there such a motion? So moved. Mr. Barsh, any second?
I'll second. Kilgore.
Mrs. Kilgore, second. Any discussion on the motion? Paula, you call roll.
Barsh,
Aye.
Sluter,
Aye.
Kilgore,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Swint.
Aye, motion carries. The executive session will be recorded and all members of the governing body are reminded to limit their discussion during the executive session to the announced topic. Board members with a conflict in this matter have agreed to recuse themselves from attending and participating in the executive session. Any collective decision, collective commitment, or other final action by the governing body must occur after it reconvenes in an open meeting unless final action is specifically required by law to be taken during the executive session. We will now ask the members of the public who are attending the meeting to leave the room. We anticipate adjourning the executive session at 7:36 and reconvening the open portion of the meeting. Oh, I apologize. We will enter at 7:06. And I plan this to run for approximately 30 minutes and coming back into this session at 7:36. So the minutes will show that the executive session began at 7:06. And was it, at this point, members of the public will be asked to leave, please.